Brandon Gavin, question?
Yeah, Mr. Sammartino, several weeks ago, CM Punk, in character, he actually downplayed your run as champion and the era that you dominated. Superstar Billy Graham, he was very defensive of these comments. He defended you and the era. Did WWE run these comments by you beforehand? And what is your reaction to people and fans that bash your era?
No, first of all, no, I didn't know anything about that, and nobody told me anything about it. But as far as him, I believe what you're talking about. I believe he said that it was easy for me to hold the title that long because I only wrestled once a month in Madison Square Garden. That was it. I mean, I think he was just talking to create some controversy. But the truth be known, I don't think that any of these guys wrestle anywhere near as much as I did. I used to wrestle 7 days, twice a month, and 6 days the other two. I would get 2 days out of the month that I was off. And when I'd go overseas, like if I'd go to Japan, I would always leave the day after Madison Square Garden because McMahon Sr. would not run the garden without me. So I'd wrestle in Madison Square Garden Monday, leave Tuesday morning, make my way to Japan or Australia or any country that I went to. But I would always be back the day before the garden to reappear in the garden again. And when I would go to these countries, whether it be Japan or Australia, well, I say Japan and Australia because I did 20 tours of Japan, so I went there more than any other place. But from the day you got there, you were on a tour and you wrestled every single day. And when you got back, you wrestled every single day because we had all these big arenas throughout the whole Northeast, and McMahon would also let me go to places like Los Angeles, San Francisco, Tennessee, Florida, St. Louis. I used to go for Sam Mushnick. So that was my problem. Why I didn't want to be champion anymore. My body. I mean, 8 years, almost 8 years, less a few months. I mean, every day, and in those hard boxing ring, you take one heck of a beating. The body was not meant to be tortured like that. And I reached a point where I was hurting so bad, and if anybody who knows me would tell you, I wouldn't even take an aspirin, much less a painkiller or anything like that. So my point is that I needed a break, and I said I have to go because it's not fair to the fans. I am hurting. I'm really hurting. I had, like I said, almost 8 years of my body was just shot. So, and I felt like I wasn't doing justice to the fans who were paying money to come and see me wrestle, so I needed out. And so I finally got out, and I rested up, and I did some therapy, all those kind of things that I needed to do. And then when I started back, I was no longer champion, but I loved the game then because I was going to St. Louis for a couple of shots, and then I would take off 3-4 days. If I went to Texas for 3-4 shots, and then I would take off for a week. If I went to Japan for 2 weeks, I stayed off 10 days. But then when the McMahon asked me, to come back, things I guess were starting to not go as well. I really didn't want no part of championship matches or anything because I was wrestling at my pace. I was spending time with my family, and I loved the business again, and I felt good. I was training good without all that pain that I was suffering before from everything hurting. And but then I kind of gave in because they said that if I'd come back and to take the title that I would give them time to find somebody that would better carry the title and be successful, and so I did, and but after 4 years I broke my neck in '76, and that's when I said that's it. If I recover from this, I'm done. It's not necessarily as a wrestler, but as I don't want no part of any championships. I just wanted to wrestle at my pace where I wanted to wrestle, and I did. And the biggest thing that happened for me, I always said from the very beginning. Real quickly, let me tell you that the first big guy I ever wrestled, big guy I mean in name, was Gorgeous George. And by this time, Gorgeous George's best years were behind him, but he certainly made his mark in wrestling. And I remember wrestling him in a convention hall in Philadelphia. By now, Gorgeous George was up there in age, and he was no longer the big headliner that he had been. And when I was wrestling, and I hurt for the guy because people were saying, "Hey, old man, why don't you hang it up? You're washed up, you know. Hey, Bruno, don't hurt the old guy." And I felt hurt. I felt hurt for him. I thought, "Oh my God, what a way to wind up." And I said, that I don't want that to happen to me. I have to be very conscious and pay attention to how people are reacting to me as time goes on. Well, I was the nicest thing that happened with me that at the end of my career, I wrestled Larry Zbyszko, and we wrestled all over Shea Stadium and every other major arena, and we sold them all out. I mean, we packed them everywhere, and that's the way I went out, and that's what I wanted.
Oh, speaking of Larry Zbyszko, there's been a lot of speculation about who you'd like to induct you into the Hall of Fame this year. Larry Zbyszko would be a perfect example of a guy that would be great to do that. If you could choose who inducts you into the WWE Hall of Fame, who would you select?
There's a number of people that I would probably select, but to be perfectly honest and fair, I told Paul that if I have my choice, if they want me to pick someone, that I would. But I said, but maybe they had somebody in mind because the business has changed. They're from what I understand, they're like in 126 countries around the world. So I thought maybe they'd want someone that they feel is known throughout all of their markets. That they might think would be more appropriate. I don't know, so I don't want to force the issue. I said, if you want me to pick someone, or if you're going to pick someone, if it were me, there were a number of names that I'd want that I think would be fitting. I should say it could be Zbyszko, as you mentioned. Could be a Koloff because he's the one I lost the title to the first time. Could be a Bill Watts because I certainly have a history with him in this business as well. You know, it could be a good friend of mine that I like very much. We come from the same neck of the woods, and that would be Dominic DeNucci. You know, but if they choose someone that they think is more appropriate because of their 126 markets around the world, and they think that might be more important, I wouldn't argue with them. I'd be fine with that too. But as of right now, it has not been determined as to who it's going to be.
Mike Chiari?
Mr. Sammartino, I know this is asking a lot of you since you've had countless great matches over the course of your career, but if only one of your matches could be shown until the end of time, which match would you choose to represent yourself in your Hall of Fame wrestling career? What one match would you say stands above all the rest over the course of your career?
Wow. You're talking about as far as a meaningful or as far as that I liked the best? What do you mean? Do you mean
well,
one
it could be
because
of significance or what you enjoyed the most?
The most important match for me was Buddy Rogers, but I can call it because that was becoming the champion and becoming the headliner, okay? So naturally, obviously, that was extremely important, but I can say the biggest matches because that only lasted 48 seconds. Now, on the other hand, when I wrestled Pedro Morales in Shea Stadium for 1 hour and 18 minutes, that match I absolutely cherished and loved because I always wanted to prove to the promoters who never wanted to have two guys that were considered to be the good guys against each other because they felt that the public would not accept such a match. I didn't believe that. I believed that if it were the right match made, that people would love it. And I wrestled Morales, like I say, for an hour 18 minutes, and it was under the worst conditions. If any of you guys were around at that time, or if you've been told, it rained for 3 days and 3 nights constant. It was September the 30th. It was cold, windy. And even though we couldn't get another date, we said we had to go that night. So what happened was, rain or shine, we had to keep saying we're going. Okay, we went, and people came with umbrellas, with blankets, because it was cold. But all we drew was tickets that had been sold in advance, which I believe were 24,000. If the conditions had been right, I really believe we would have sold it. But most importantly, people came from all over to see this match. I'm not talking about the fans. I'm talking about promoters. They came from all over because they were curious, because they didn't believe that matches like this would draw and how people might react to it. Well, we went for an hour, 18 minutes. There was not one illegal kick or punch or anything like that. It was just pure wrestling and a lot of quick action moves. and people ate it up. And I was always extremely proud of that match, and I thought and hoped that they would have taught somebody something to make more of those kind of matches. But that match, there's a lot of matches that stand in my mind that I thought that I was very proud of. But that had certainly right up there on top, because it was such a great match that everybody questioned beforehand, but they all applauded afterwards.
Brandon Galvin, final question?
Yeah, Mr. Sammartino, as you said, it's an honor to be inducted to any Hall of Fame. I'm sure you're excited that fans of a new generation, they'll be able to relive what you accomplished at the Hall of Fame ceremony through your stories. But we were wondering if there's anything more in the works, any potential DVDs or even movies that WWE possibly has in the works, so fans can relive your tales and your matches with more context and depth.
We have just completed a documentary of my life, which has been in the works for 6 years. In fact, we've even gone back to the old country 3 or 4 times and filmed. We actually went back up to the mountain where we hid from the Nazis during the war and filmed it all. But anyway, it's been a long process, but it's complete. And it'll be, now we have different distributors that are negotiating with our people to see who we're going to deal with on that. So that's the one project that's there. As far as the WWE, at least I'm told, I don't know, but I'm told that yes, they want to do DVDs, maybe video game, and they have other things in mind, which I'm not sure of everything that they want to do. But as the time comes, and we'll know more and more about it, I'm sure that there'll be a lot of things that I would be interested in doing for them. But again, we'll have to see what they all are. I certainly don't want to go back on the road, for one thing, not at this stage of my life, but the DVDs and other things like that calls for little filming and stuff where you don't have to do a lot of traveling. I would be very, very much up for it. And like I say, I think that there are other things that they want to do. I'm not sure of everything. But when the time comes, we'll check it, we'll weigh everything, and those that I find, okay to do, that I'm comfortable in doing and so forth, we will. And if those that calls for maybe too much as far as traveling or stuff, I won't. So, but yes, definitely there will be more than just going into the Hall of Fame and making an appearance in WrestleMania. There will be more stuff coming.
Mr. Sammartino, we thank you so much for your time and coming on the show. Is there anything you'd like to plug before you leave?
To plug?
Yeah, your website, your website, anything like that?
Oh yeah, well yeah, the website's very important because there's a ton of stuff that you might be interested in, and let me say you real quickly too. There have been a lot of stuff on the internet that are very disturbing to me. There are people who claimed like to be me almost, and are saying different things and posting different things, and there's so much nonsense that is very, very bothersome to me. I hope that people look into the BrunoSammartino.info. And they will get the straight scoops over there. And yeah, because I'm glad you said that, because I'm so disturbed that of all the nonsense that's been printed, that so much of it, it's not true, So for the truth, please, that's where I'd like anybody to check into. BrunoSammartino.info.
Listen, Mr. Sammartino, that's the internet, though. It's the Wild West. Anybody can do whatever they want on here. It's just there's no.
Yeah, but I want the people to get the straight stuff, and I'm telling you, on my website they're going to get the straight stuff, and a lot of the other stuff will be shut down because people are claiming that they have like I don't know. I'm not very knowledgeable when it comes to the internet and all stuff, but there are people who have claims that they are doing things about me that since I'm trademarked, a lot of that stuff will be stopped because I have my attorneys working on it.
Great, that's amazing. Listen, thank God for people like you trying to put a stop to this stuff on the internet. Mr. Sammartino, we really appreciate your time. We appreciate you taking time out of your day to talk to us. It's very much appreciated.
Well, and I thank you guys. I thank you very much for thinking of me and to have me on your show. So thank you. I thank you as well, and I hope that if you make it to the Garden, I hope that it'll be worth it for you.
We will absolutely be there, and we will be proud to see you go to the Hall of Fame. Mr. Sammartino, you have a great day. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Have a good day as well. Bye.